Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. I'm so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside. Don't you love that song, Jimmy?
ELP, baby. They're probably not in the Hall of Fame, right?
No, but man, what a song. Holy crap.
How are they not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
No, seriously, what? Like Lucky Man, the song Lucky Man alone is not enough to get consideration?
I mean, when you're singing a song at the beginning of a podcast that came out 50 something years ago. I mean, you knew you did something special.
What about the Sheriff? I know a lot of their stuff.
Right.
ELP, they're on paper, they're brilliant. They're Mozart, Beethoven level.
Yeah.
How they play ELP. They were great. Now, I will admit, though, there's only so much I can listen to them. I don't know why that is. Why is that, Benny? It's
I don't know.
To me, it's progressive rock. I love it. Don't get me wrong. But like Rush, who I love, I can't listen to too much Rush. You know what I mean? I get all like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, that's enough of that. Is it the calculus of the music itself? Is it too overwhelming? Maybe it overwhelms me. Yeah,
well, for those of you who weren't here the last show, I am the Playa, often imitated, but never duplicated. Or maybe it's often constipated and never imitated. But
that's great.
I am back with the Pharaoh. And how about some wrestling chat? You know what, Jimmy? How about it's Halloween, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not going to be at your level on this. You're a superstar Billy Graham, and as far as this goes, and I'm like Silvano Souza or Joe Turco. But we're going to talk about some great horror movies.
We are? Okay. Okay.
And I think we're going to get a lot of chat input on that.
All right. Well, it is Halloween after all. Look, my knowledge of horror movies goes back to the silent films, okay? So if I were to give you a crash course on great Halloween films of the past century, it really starts with the silent films. There was a man called Lon Chaney Sr.
Oh, yeah.
Ever heard of him?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, Lon Chaney Sr. was known as the Man of a Thousand Faces. He played the Hunchback of Notre Dame in 1923. He played Phantom of the Opera in 1925. He was incredible. He was an actor who brought his own makeup case. He applied the makeup himself. Can you imagine a Hollywood star that would do that today, Benny?
No, absolutely not.
You're talking about a Hollywood actor whose job is, okay, it's silent, but he still is talking words to express the emotions of the scene.
Right. That's very important.
That was the beauty of the silent era. So it was an art form unto itself. There's a film, the original Dracula, called Nosferatu from 1922. Oh my God. It's still to this day. By the way, it's those scenes that you see in the David Bowie Queen Under Pressure video are taken from Nosferatu.
Okay.
From 1922, just in case. Just a little pop culture info there for you. All right. When the 30s arrived, Universal, which of course is still a giant today, you see, Universal should get on their hands and knees and thank the monsters of the 1930s Universal horror films, because you're talking about Bela Lugosi as Dracula, Boris Karloff as Frankenstein. Then you had the Bride of Frankenstein. Boris Karloff plays the Mummy. You have Claude Rains as the Invisible Man. I could go on and on. It was just an eruption of Hollywood's box office smash hits. You do realize, Benny, by the 30s, Hollywood is big time, man. They were big time. They were big time in the 20s.
Yeah.
During the silent era, because they were the Yankees, whatever. Whoever was running Hollywood. That was your option for entertainment, and you were getting it. You know? Lon Chaney Sr. had a son, Lon Chaney Jr., who became the Wolfman. You know, all the legends we know today of the Wolfman. Well, where do you think it really comes from? Where was the boost that shot the werewolf into our consciousness come Halloween night? A guy named Lon Chaney Jr. in 1941 playing the Wolfman. You know, very important things happened. And then there was a lull, like anything else, like pro wrestling has its lull. There was a lull in Hollywood for the horror film. The horror film began getting poked at. You had 1948, Hey Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, which is great, by the way.
Right.
But the classic Dracula, Frankenstein, you know, et cetera characters are presented in Abbott and Costello style. So much for all the good scares they gave us in the 30s and the 40s, huh? So there was kind of like a lull. Color all of a sudden comes into existence. but yet it's black and white that puts everything over again, and it's Psycho. I don't know if you've ever seen Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho.
I
But
have, yes.
it's a tremendous film, and the real shock at the time, and I don't want to give anything away, but I guess I would have to. So if you folks want to close your ears for 30 seconds, the star of the movie at the time was Janet Leigh. She's not supposed to go anywhere. Well, she goes somewhere. She goes somewhere fast. And it was the star of the film. Hitchcock already had his reputation, but the star of the film was Janet Leigh. You know the infamous scene in the shower, right, Benny?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, Psycho, continued the horror map going. The 60s were not, to me, overly kind with masterpieces. But then you have the 70s, and you have the movie that still scares me to this day. And all those other movies I've mentioned, I can watch no problem. But this one, to this day, I can't. The Exorcist. Oh my God, bro, please. Why did you put that up? I'm scarred for life from The Exorcist. There's something about The Exorcist that completely unhinges me. Perhaps it's the religious subject matter, the possession of the girl, who in real life I believe was the possession of a boy.
Yes.
I've looked somewhat into this, but Linda Blair was obviously the perfect pick. I'm covered in goosebumps, and I'm not sure whether it's from nervousness or excitement about thinking about that film. I will still watch it, even though I'm scared to hell of it. I will watch it, and it still scares the living daylights out of me to this day. There's something so dark, and when they would open her door, and when she was possessed, she would breathe out cold air. Do you remember how that was shot? How that was filmed, Benny? Like, there was so many things that made her so eerie, and perhaps it's the whole possession thing that makes it really, really hard for me to watch. How about you?
Well, I was going to ask you though, how old were you when you first saw it?
Dude, I was like 6.
Did you see it at the movies though, or?
I think so, because it's 1973. Where else am I going to see it?
I was.
I'm
I was
6.
18. No, 18. Yeah, 18.
Yeah.
And
I got to be accompanied by an adult. What do you want from me? I'm 6.
I took a young lady to the Amityville movie theater, which gained notoriety because was it 2 years later was Ronald DeFeo at a bar, literally within walking distance of the movie theater.
Ronald DeFeo of the Amityville horror fame. Ronald DeFeo.
Yes, went home and killed his family, but I saw the movie. It was actually the summer of '74 at the Amityville movie theater, and I thought, holy shit, this is scary. I mean, not even the scary is not even the right word. It was like
it's terrifying.
Like,
terrifying.
Yeah, like
terrifying is the right word for The Exorcist. Terrifying.
And I heard whimpering in back of me.
Yeah.
And I turned around, and there were 3 nuns in back of me whimpering. I thought, oh shit, this is bad stuff. I to this day, that was 50 years ago, and it still gives me goosebumps just thinking about it.
Benny, I just got a comment from my wife, Karen McDaniel. She writes in that she was 17 years old, and when she saw The Exorcist, she had to sleep next to her mom for 3 months.
I don't doubt it.
I don't doubt it either. Are you kidding me? That movie horrified me. I couldn't sleep forever. Why? By the way, why would somebody take a 6-year-old to go see The Exorcist anyway?
I can't answer that one, Jimmy.
Bro, I saw Jaws when I was like 7.5. I'm like, I couldn't go near the water for like ever.
I could see taking a 7 or 8 year old to Jaws.
Dude, too young.
That's a stretch. I can stretch on that one.
No, it's too soon. No.
I can't do the stretch on The Exorcist though. That's way too young.
Oh, dude, 6 years old, and you wonder what's wrong with me. Wonder no longer.
I don't know I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm almost willing to bet that the psychology business was booming in the summer of 1974 after people saw that movie.
Unfortunately, the psychiatric wards in general were eroding and decaying. By the mid '90s, they were all gone. I think you know that I have an extensive knowledge of the abandoned cities that still remain. Long Island was the epicenter for psychiatric care, and they're all pretty much abandoned except for Pilgrim State, which is
let me ask you this, Jimmy, because I drove for my first 2 years of college. I was living in Farmingdale, and I drove to St. John's. I commuted to St. John's University, and on the way back, I mean, I could see it on the way there too, but I was it Creedmoor right off of Grand Central Parkway.
Yeah, that would be Creedmoor.
And that was 1973. I thought I remember like they did a piece on it where like it was, even then it was like really, I think it was still functional, but it wasn't very clean.
Yeah, it's quite minor though in comparison to what happened in Kings Park. Kings Park was beautiful. It was right on the water. It was the most beautiful site. It was well taken care of. The grounds were gorgeous. The buildings were old brick-layered buildings from World War I to World War II era kind of construction, the way they made things back in those days. Just beautiful architecture. Completely abandoned. All the power went off in 1996. It was this city, Benny. It had its own railroad track. It had its own mail system service. It had its own laundry. It had its own everything. All training centers and everything, the violent ward. Well, I know all about places like that, unfortunately.
It's so funny that you mentioned that place because I pledged to fraternity, Sigma Chi Beta at St. John's. So on my hell night, and I was warned by the older frat brothers.
Hell night.
My hell night, yeah.
Okay.
That's a whole podcast in itself.
That sounds interesting. Okay, hell night.
Yeah.
All right.
But the culmination of hell night was that you were blindfolded, put in a car, and you were driven to an unknown destination. Of course, you had no money because they made sure you had no money on you.
Okay. What do you mean? What do you mean? They made you like show them your wallet? What are you getting at?
Yeah, you had to like show your wallet. I went up. I put a $10 bill in my socks, and I got away with that.
That's funny.
But anyway, I'm thinking, where are these guys going to take me? Holy shit! And then we got to there used to be a toll on Southern State Parkway a long time ago,
right?
And we had to stop for it. And one of my frat brothers says, "Which way is Ohio?" It's like, oh fuck, Ohio. And somehow I got my blindfold open enough where I could see just barely, and I saw that they're driving on Southern State. And I saw exit 32, Route 110, Farmingdale. I thought, okay, well, and I knew that we left from Jamaica. I'm thinking like, okay, at least they're driving east on the island. That's not too bad.
Right.
But they dropped us off right in the middle of Pilgrim State.
That place is a maze, bro. By the way, they drove you almost an hour for those folks at home who don't realize the distance between Jamaica and Brentwood, New York, to Long Island. But so they drove you for probably almost a good hour and dumped you off at the psych ward. That's pretty funny.
Right in the middle, and it was probably by then about 1 or 2 in the morning, but there were still people outside, and
still open.
Yeah, and we somehow found our way off the place.
How?
There was a bar that was still open, and
there was a bar. There's a bar nearby. I had no idea. I lived there for 50 years.
Yeah,
what kind of bar?
This is 76, so there was a bar that was open, and
before I got there. Okay.
Yeah, I was, and I was able to call my dad.
I'm at a bar.
At 2 in the morning, called my dad. He came and got us, and he drove us all back to Jamaica. And then everybody had their cars there, and I was able to get home. But man,
so what do you tell? So what do you tell your dad? Hi, I just got hazed, because you did.
Well, he knew. I mean, I told my parents that it was hell night, and I told them I said I have no idea where they're going to drop me off. And that was the place. But yeah, I mean,
that's great.
It was a barmaid. She even gave us beers. She felt so bad. I mean, I'm covered with like chocolate syrup, baking powder.
Nice.
I mean, you could tell like I'm sure they've seen it before, or they had seen it before. But
trick or treat.
So that was my indoctrination to Pilgrim State.
Very nice, very nice. Well, thanks to The Exorcist, if we don't get The Exorcist, then, and this is what I love, about 5 years after The Exorcist, an independent filmmaker. Understand it. This is an independent filmmaker. This is not Hollywood, right, Benny? 1978, a guy named John Carpenter gives us Halloween, which is where we're at today, of course, Halloween. And it was probably the what felt to be the realest horror movie to date in 1978. Because think about it, all the other ones, whether you were Dracula, Frankenstein, it was always something supernatural, right, Benny? To be a monster,
Right.
right? But here's this guy. They dropped you off at Pilgrim State. Here's this guy who escapes a Pilgrim State, puts on a mask on Halloween, and starts going back to his hometown for a little cutlery. I mean, and doesn't say a word, hasn't spoken in 15 years. And this independent filmmaker turned this tiny little thing into a franchise called Halloween.
Yeah.
So you have that in the 70s. Jamie Lee Curtis got her career from that. It's one of my favorite movies, by the way. If you were to ask me, is it like my Bruno Sammartino or Hulk Hogan? Yeah, it is. I love the original Halloween from Carpenter that much. And the soundtrack is killer too. Don't Fear the Reaper. Oh, that's killer.
Oh God. Now
Yeah.
we're talking here.
Yeah, we're talking 1978, bro. And it felt very real. The town felt very real. It was the way it was shot. It was taken very, very seriously, and nothing like it before. Because in the end, the monster is supposed to be destroyed. That's usually how it works with these monsters, these poor monsters that we fall in love with. Oh man, at the end, when you think about it, those rotten human beings got the best of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the original Halloween, that's not what happens. Where is the bad guy? I don't see him.
Yeah.
And you have the closing music going, and I'm going, oh my God, where is he? He's not dead. That had to be, at the time, that was a shock that the bad guy, the killer, the monster, whatever you want to call, got away. And that changed a lot. That really did. That changed a lot. That gave us eventually Freddy from Nightmare on Elm Street. That gave us Jason from Friday the 13th. The 80s was very kind to horror. I don't know how well you recall it, but there was some really good stuff going on in the 80s. Hellraiser from a guy named Clive Barker, some brilliant stuff. A lot of brilliant stuff.
How about somebody, Mike Rillerson said Salem's Lot?
Salem's Lot was amazing, bro. By the way, that's with Soul from Starsky and Hutch. If I remember correctly, David Soul, he was fantastic. That's a Stephen King novel. Almost anything Stephen King did to me was like, wow, this guy's so brilliantly twisted. What a mind Stephen King has. Wow. But the television, it was a TV thing, Salem's Lot, was excellent. Great atmosphere. Really well done. The vampire scared the crap out of me. The boy who had been bitten floating up to the window, like, let me in with his old buddy. Oh my God, that's some creepy stuff, man. Excellent. Good comment,
Gerard Millett, Tales from the Crypt.
Tales from the Crypt was awesome. Was that more like a series, though, if I'm not mistaken, Benny?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I do remember enjoying it, though. Remember enjoying it.
And I told you, like, I'm the Joe Turco of horror films. Saw very few, but one that sticks in my mind was, and I don't know if it's really considered a horror film, it was creepier than shit, was something called Trilogy of Terror.
Oh, my God, Karen Black. Oh, my God. Now, the other two stories in the trilogy are decent to, okay, but it's that one with Karen Black where she gets the doll in the mail, and that doll comes to life, and that doll will not die, and that doll is so scary. The teeth on that doll, and it's not special effects that we know today. I understand how we're all fancy now with our special effects. That one is like The Exorcist, the one you just brought up, Benny. That's an excellent, excellent, excellent moment in horror history where Karen Black is being terrorized by that possessed demon doll.
It's really funny, Jimmy. Not really funny, but the true crime show I did on Monday about Sarah Boone, who zipped her boyfriend up in a suitcase and just left him there. But I remember in that movie, I very vividly remember that she put that doll in a suitcase, zipped it up, and you hear her making those noises, and you see that what was a knife, just like cutting open the suitcase.
Oh.
So I mean, I get scared just thinking about that. That was like 50-something years ago.
Yep. Trilogy of Terror scared the living
I
crap
mean,
out of
when
me.
you think
I
about,
think I
like,
was 7. Benny, don't you think I was a little young? I think I was 7 when I saw that.
yeah, maybe, you got,
That
so you had a,
scared the that scared the piss out of me, bro.
so by
Karen
by
Black.
by 7 years old, you had that and Exorcist under your belt. Like, you're well on your way.
Yeah, I'm shot. And then he showed me Jaws. So let me get this straight. On land, I'm not safe. In water, I'm not safe. Where am I safe? Right? Right? That's
Yeah,
what I was
yeah.
thinking. I was just like, well, if I go to God, I mean, you see what happens in The Exorcist. Every time they go to God, something else demonic happens. I'm like, oh my, yeah, this isn't good. You know what I'm
You,
saying?
Jimmy, I was praying that the chat room would pick up my slack, which
Yours,
they have. Mike Rulis and Christine.
Christine was excellent. Christine is very underrated. I think that's
I
Carpenter as well.
Yeah.
Christine's very, very good film. Really good film. The way the car takes over the main character, and he does a great job of it too.
It,
Christine's a classic. I agree.
isn't it the
That's a
same
really good comment
the
right there.
same actor that played Rodney Dangerfield's son on Back to School, wasn't he, Christine?
I think you might be right about that,
I
Benny.
think
It's been a long time since
all
I've
right. And
seen
here's
Christine.
Maria Davis, and I remember this one. I think this was also from
What do you got?
1974. Carrie with Sissy Spacek.
Carrie was a very unsettling classic. It's a classic, one way or the other. Yeah, it gets pretty creepy. You know, there's a reason why we still talk about it today. I mean, Sissy Spacek. I mean, I knew who that was. Carrie freaked me out. I saw that probably when I got to be like 10 or 11. It messed me up. I'm not the biggest fan of watching it on repeat, but when I do get around to seeing it from time to time, it's still a great film. It's one of the all-time great horror classics, no doubt about it. I mean, I'm trying to think of other films. I mean, you mentioned there's cult classics. You mentioned it earlier to me before we went on the air. Motel Hell.
Oh God, I what a
Yikes!
movie! Love
Yikes!
that movie.
That movie's insane. The sausage that they sell is because they're planting people in the. What do? They break their neck and then they plant them up to their necks
What they do
in
is
soil. In
they
soil.
they shoot their cars. I think they shoot the tires out. Their
Well,
cars wreck,
you
so
got
they're
to
pretty much
abduct them
disabled.
first. We got
Yeah,
that part. Yeah.
yeah. They plant them in the ground. They slit their throats so they can't scream.
Right.
They put a sack over
A
their
paper,
neck.
yeah, over their head. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they feed them gruel, I guess, to make them fatten them up. And
Yeah.
then when they're sufficiently fed, then they put a rope around their neck and then what, they attach to a tractor or
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. To a full tractor trailer.
and
Yeah.
then you become sausage.
Right. Right. They grind you up and they serve you to the public, and the
That
public
reminds
loves
me of Jeffrey Dahmer's favorite song, "Billy, Don't Be a Weirdo."
Oh, dude,
That's
that's
bad. I know.
holy,
Sorry.
holy cornball Batman. Yeah, that movie, bro. That movie is twisted. I like it though. What's wrong
Yeah.
with me?
How
I
about the
like
Hill?
Motel
Mike
Hell.
Rolson, another one. The Hills Have Eyes.
The Hills Have Eyes. The original one was fantastic. Great atmosphere. I love the desolation feel of it. You really felt like you were out in the middle of nowhere with that situation. That was a really, really underrated, but I think it's been appreciated over the years. The original Hills Have Eyes. That's a really good horror flick, especially
Jason
one of
with
those drive-in movie classics. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Oh yeah. Jason Moaning with George Romero's Two Evil Eyes.
I don't think I've seen that.
That one
Wow.
doesn't have me either. Not that it
So
would.
he's
But
got me on that one. I'm ashamed of
yeah.
myself. I should probably know and love that one, so I apologize.
How about Gerard said? How about the Final Destinations?
Another one that got past me. I wanted to talk about what about the great Jack Nicholson's performance in The Shining.
Oh my God!
The
And
Shining
another one
is-
that I believe that was 1974 as well. That must have been a great year for.
well, no, The Shining was 1980, I believe, or it's a little bit later.
You sure about that?
Yeah, because Kubrick was busy doing Clockwork Orange in the early 70s.
I'm gonna look that up.
I want to say The Shining is 1980.
The Shining.
Yeah, bear with us, folks. But I'm taking
All right.
Look, I'm an old fart, so if I'm wrong, I apologize in advance.
No, you're correct. The Shining,
1980.
very good,
1980.
Jimmy. The Shining is a
Yeah.
1980
Yeah.
psychological horror film produced
Yeah.
and directed by
Masterpiece.
Stanley Kubrick.
It's a masterpiece because Kubrick did things like that. You could always tell when it was a Stanley Kubrick film. I mean, he did 2001: Space Odyssey. He did a Clockwork Orange is probably one of my three favorite movies ever. So it's pretty obvious I'm a fan of the Kubrick approach. The Shining is one of the great horror movies of all time. Jack Nicholson's performance alone, and then Sissy. By the way, she passed away recently too. The one who played Jack's wife. It's eluding me right now, so forgive me. But and she passed away recently too. On top of it, so somebody help me out there. Who was Jack's wife in The Shining?
We seem like
But
we have a lot of aficionados here.
she was fantastic. The Shining was just shot brilliantly, filmed brilliantly. It's a work of art, The Shining.
I'm
Work
glad
of
here.
art. Shelley
Let's
Duvall. Thank you, Karen. Karen saves my ass.
Nice. Right. Thank you, Karen.
Shelley Duvall was tortured, unfortunately, in real life by Stanley Kubrick. He got the most out of her. He wanted her terror. He wanted and demanded her terror. Do you understand what I'm saying, Benny, as a
Yeah.
director? That to me is rough. But you know what? To her credit, and it messed her up too. She did say it messed her up. Look, I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. What I'm saying is that the end product, as far as Mr. Kubrick goes, mission accomplished. Her performance as that axe is going through the door. Here's Johnny. We all know here's Johnny, right?
Right.
It's just what a masterpiece that film is, and the twist ending where he's in the photo as if he always was in 1926. What are you? What? Whoa! Wait a minute! What? You know what I'm saying? You see Jack at the end in the old photo from the old days because the ghosts are always visiting him from the 1920s. So it's really what a bizarre, beautiful film. What a mind wreck. I love
Oh
The
yeah.
Shining.
Absolutely classic. Maria Davis with His House. Have you seen that one?
Can't say I've seen that one. Look at the chat is blowing my mind. What year was that? Help me out, Maria.
Yeah, Maria. I don't know what year is that. Mike Rullison again with, and I saw this one in the movie theater, Deliverance with Burt Reynolds.
Oh, no, please. Totally agree. Oh my God. Mind fuck.
Not really a horror movie, but man,
You know what? If it's going to twist your mind up and bend it in those sorts of ways and fuck with you, yeah, why not? I just saw No Country for Old Men. Finally. Yo, bro, the bad guy? Holy crap. No thanks. No thanks. He scares the fuck out of me, man. I'm convinced. He's nuts. What about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Little love for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one?
I saw that one, yes.
The original one was great. That's another drive-in classic.
Yeah.
That is totally terrifying, that movie. Hanging people on meat hooks. Good Lord. Where are we going in Hollywood, Benny? What's becoming of us? Dude, that movie was hit with serious shock factor. I remember that. People were banning that movie. Took a lot of heat.
We got
turned into a franchise.
My Bloody Valentine.
I remember the original. Sure. It's okay. It wasn't bad. Definitely memorable. There was a movie called The Fun House, if you want to get into clowns. The Fun House was great.
I think so, yeah. Scarecrow.
Oh, Pumpkinhead. Ooh.
Maria Davis.
The original Pumpkinhead, Benny. Ooh. Go on.
How about Cargo?
I'm trying. You know what? Nope. It's it.
Well, I know you saw this one, Poltergeist.
Oh, Poltergeist is a masterpiece. You took the headstones, but you left the bodies, didn't you? You took the headstones, but you left the bodies, didn't you? Dude, that's some great stuff right there.
Jason with Children of the Corn.
Yeah, oh, well, of course. The original, but please don't give me the rest of them for the most part, for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Some of these turn into franchises just because of Freddy and Jason and Michael. You understand what I'm saying, Benny?
Yeah.
In the history of it, Michael, Freddy, and Jason are responsible for horror franchises. They truly, though, originated in the 30s, if you really think about it, because Frankenstein was a franchise, wasn't he? Dracula should have been a franchise, but wasn't. The Wolfman was a single shot. So you know what? I guess Frankenstein was the original franchise in horror, if you
Yeah.
really got to think about it, because Boris Karloff played it for 3 great films.
B40 may have the comment of the night.
Yeah.
Billy Squire's "Rock Me Tonight" video was a horror show.
Oh my God, bro, he ain't kidding, dude. I hated that video. I was like, what are you doing? Why are you wearing pink pants and jumping up and down on a bed? What are you doing? I mean, talk about taking your career and just, it's sad too, because if you listen to Billy Squiire from when Billy Squiire was Billy Squiire, and you know what I mean, Benny. Billy Squiire was pretty damn good. He's pretty damn good, He was. He rocked. He had that Zeppelin Aerosmith feel. He rocked. And then all of a sudden, take me in your arms. I was like, dude, what are you doing, bro? Oh, it was rough. Very rough.
Lord of the Flies from Gerard.
Lord of the Flies is kind of twisted. It's more of a slower moving, slow burn. It's okay to me. I've never jumped on board fully with it, but I know plenty of people have.
How many of the Jaws movies did you see, Jimmy?
The what?
How many of the Jaws movies did you see?
I think I've seen 4 of them. How many have they made?
I don't know. Yeah,
I know this much. The original Jaws is a masterpiece. There's no way around that. It is. The mechanical. And by the way, when you're a little boy, and it's 1975, and you're seeing the original Jaws for the first time, and you're seeing it in the movie theater, and it's the blockbuster hit of the summer, The mechanical shark scared the shit out of me, all right? I don't want to hear how it looks today to some people who would say that. Fuck that. That shark rules. That movie rules. Robert Shaw effing rules. Rules. Shaw just takes it to another level. They all do, really, when you think about it. Scheider, Dreyfuss.
Yeah, Richard Dreyfuss.
Dreyfuss was great. The whole movie is great, 2 was good. I agree with Karen, who's chiming in, because Jaws is definitely one of her subjects. 2 was good. Jaws 2 was good. It wasn't like, it wasn't near the level of the original. But it was good, The third one, to me, it starts to be like, who cares? Here we go. Lou Gossett Jr.'s in it, though.
Okay.
But I stop after 2.
All I know is I saw the first one. It was summer '75. I was 20.
Yeah.
And I saw it at the Amityville movie theater again.
Nice.
And
right on the water.
Right. And the name of the town wasn't it Amity?
Yes, because it's based on Amityville, where you were seeing the movie, my friend.
And I used to probably go to Jones Beach about once a week. I don't think I went in the water that summer.
Dude, it scared the crap out of me, bro. I had a problem in people's swimming pools, and you're talking about going to the beach. I didn't want to. Dude, you couldn't get me to a beach for years. Bro, I'm talking for years, man. I don't think I really went to a beach until I was in my 20s, dude. I'm serious. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. Jaws fucked my shit up.
Yeah,
no,
there you
thank
go.
you. No, thank you. Jaws fucked me up, man. I was like, and I'd hear the music, because when something works, everything works. You ever notice that? When something works, everything works.
Oh, yeah.
So you're talking about the music of Jaws, written by who? Wasn't that the great John Williams, who wrote Star Wars and a million other, great. John Williams, by the way, hundreds of years from now is going to be looked at as a Beethoven. You know that, right?
Yeah.
John Williams is, So anytime I was in the deep end, even when I'm like 12, room, 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 room. Oh my God, forget it. I'm done. I'm out of the pool. I'm drying off. What a sissy. What an absolute sissy, Benny. I'm putting myself under. Jaws scared the crap out of me.
Mike Willerson, Helter Skelter.
Well, now you're talking about real life. Helter Skelter, the one that I'm sure you're referring to, is excellent. The original, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
That was excellent. That was excellent. And no, not because I find Charles Manson fascinating, even though I do. I'm on record for that one, Benny. Obviously,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mike always goes after me for you, ding dong. You like Charles Manson? I'm like, I like aspects of him. Okay, let's not get carried away. You
The
know what
guy
I
was a
mean?
fascinating human being. You can't
He
deny that.
he really was. I mean, some of the stuff that would come out of his mouth was actually like, what do they call those kinds of people? Well, obviously he's a psycho and he's insane, but he's got this intelligence level where he's almost prophetic because like
I
a
was going
lot
to
of the
use
things he
that was the word I was going to use. Prophetic.
yeah, because a lot of the things he said back then are a lot of them have come true. It's
Right.
like, oh my God, he like saw a lot of crap. He really did, you know. And he really, when they asked him, "Do you belong in prison?" His answer was, "Your prison is your mind. I'm not in prison. I, I'm fine." You know, he meant it too. He was
Right.
like, "Your prison's in your mind. You put me in here because you say I'm a bad person." You know, he's like, okay, I'm not going to make this bad for me. What the fuck? Guy's nuts. But he makes sense. If you
No.
understand what I'm saying, I'm like, oh my God. He's like, your prison is your mind. Wow. You know, I mean, why did you wind up there, bro? He was smart. So obviously he was smart. He was also nuts. Would it be the first one, though, right? Bundy was smart. Since we're on a Halloween subject, Bundy was a very smart person, wasn't he? He had a
He
high.
was very smart and very charismatic, very
Right,
persuasive.
right, right. And then there's the guy next door, Jeffrey Dahmer, who really looks like the guy next door, doesn't he?
Right.
Jeffrey Dahmer looks like the guy next door. He's eating people. Happy
You
Halloween,
know,
Benny.
and the one thing with Dahmer, I mean, you know, doing that true crime podcast, almost every serial killer, without exception, that we covered had a broken home. You know, Manson, obviously, right?
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know, even
Well,
Albert DeSalvo, the Boston Strangler, his dad would bring home hookers and have sex in front of the kids. I mean, just weird stuff.
Was Berkowitz adopted?
Yes,
Yeah.
and Berkowitz had issues with his parents, but
Yes. Yeah.
you know, by all
Yeah.
accounts, Dahmer's parents were fairly normal, I think.
Yeah. No, it makes no sense. You know, I mean, Dahmer knew what he did. Dahmer wasn't an idiot.
Right.
That's another thing. It's like, you know, the scariest things of all are the conditions of people's minds. How can you tell? Being the next door neighbor, you know, who was the guy who was abducting children on Long Island? He's from East Meadow. His name's escaping me, but he kidnapped kids and stuff. They finally got him, and you know, he's the guy next door.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. It
Things are
really
not
doesn't.
always what they appear to be. I agree.
No.
So I guess so. Mike won't be too mad at us. We got to cover a little wrestling here. So
Sure.
you know, I no longer am able to access Raw on Hulu, but I have been watching the highlights on YouTube, so I'm kind of up to date. And as far as the
Right.
storyline goes, it seems like both Raw and SmackDown are evolving around the whole Bloodline versus Bloodline 2.0.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's working too. It's working. I mean, Solo is an absolute prick, and it's apparent, and he's good at it, and it's working. You got the Usos back together again, hugging. Roman leaves no emotion to the crowd. He doesn't give anything away. He just, as the brothers are reuniting and hugging in the ring, there's Roman Reigns just standing and staring. No, nothing. You know, I love how Roman Reigns does everything. You know, by the way, is it hilarious when Roman Reigns is now doing a run in that he doesn't come out until there's music, like, you know, the right moment and the music hits and he slowly goes to the ring? That's his run in.
Oh yeah,
Roman Reigns is the most arrogant, even when he's a good guy. Why do I love him so much? You know what I
it's not
mean?
even a run in; it's like a meander in. You know, like
Yeah, yeah. But hey, Fatu, Superman punch.
right.
It's working for me.
I'm absolutely amazed that like this angle's been going on for how many years now,
4.
and we're still being drawn into it. I mean, the NWO had a shelf life of like what 2.5 years.
To be honest, yeah, probably. Not and it sucked for half of it. Let's be honest.
Right. I mean, is this
The first half was great, and then it went downhill. And then it split into the Wolf Pack, and now we got the Wolf Pack, and
is
it's
this
like,
the
come on
greatest
already.
angle in wrestling history now, or what?
Oh man, I'd be hard pressed to argue on paper because and I'm sure Mike would point it out. Jimmy, you're always about what the paper says, and he would be right. Yeah, I mean it's pretty much there. I mean a 4-year storyline that's on this level with PLEs once a month that sell out for 4 years, with program ratings for today for wrestling to be number one in the world with the ratings. I mean, say what you will about ratings, but they're still number one. I mean, this storyline's been unbelievable. And let's not forget this week, there's Sammy. There he is, talking to Oos, trying to tell him, hey, it was Roman who used to paralyze you, man. Don't go back. Like, very interesting. Very
Well,
interesting. There's Sammy, because the greatest bloodline version to me is Roman with the Wise Man, with the Uso brothers, with Sammy.
Sammy, right?
That's the version I want. That's the version I think we're going to get pretty soon. I think.
Well, very interesting though. Wasn't it the end of Raw? Jimmy and Jay are looking outside and they see Sammy talking to Solo, right?
Right. So what does that mean?
I think that's a tease. I do. I
Right.
can't imagine. I can't imagine
Right.
Sammy turning heel and being a part of that.
Right.
But it makes you wonder, right?
Yeah, and it's what I love the most about the current product. The writing is fantastic. I'm always guessing. I'm half the time dead on. The other half of the time I'm not. And I still get mad when I'm not. I'm like, damn it. I'm like, well, why didn't I see that? But hey, look. If I wouldn't want to know 1,000% all the time what the end result's going to be. Why would I watch?
Yeah.
And it's funny, every week when we're on ESPN here in Northwest Florida, 104.3, we always point out, Coach who hosts the show, Afternoon Underdogs, he always asks for predictions. Mike loves predictions, loves it. I call it observations because I don't want to make a prediction on a scripted event. It's a scripted event.
Right.
I refuse. I won't do it. It's bad enough I'm a Jet fan, right? First show we talked about all the New York sports misery. Let me just watch my wrestling. These are my observations. If they're wrong, so may it be. That's where I'm at with that.
Well, we're speaking of that. We're almost at halftime. The Texans are ahead of the Jets, but only by 7-0. Pretty close game.
So the defense is on, and the offense is sputtering.
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
I would have guessed at least 21-0 by halftime. But all right.
Well, let's not forget Zach Wilson beat Stroud last year.
Right.
By the way,
we'll see. Maybe there's a little fight left in him, but
maybe Mike is good juju.
That could be. As opposed to me, who he said, once I predicted the Yankees would win the series, he called it he said you sprinkled the Benny goo. So the reason why the Yankees lost in 5 was because of the Benny goo, I guess. But let me.
Nah, you had nothing to do with the fact that Aaron Judge can't catch a ball hit directly at him. That ain't your fault.
Here we go. Let me go backwards here.
Sorry, folks. What's this?
All right.
This the big ladies tag match there, Benny?
Yeah, this is we got Crown Jewel on Saturday, right?
Right.
And
Saudi
pretty decent card. So this one is
no, it is.
You got Bianca Belair and Cargill versus Damage Control versus Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, and then whoever the hell Metaphor is. You know who Metaphor is? I mean, what did Jack Nicholson say in
no, I'd probably say no.
People who speak in mixed metaphors ought to shampoo my crotch.
Oh yeah, that goes over today.
The great Melvin Udall, as good as it gets. But I believe this is a title match.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we're not going to do predictions. The one thing I want to say though is that
Why don't you ask me if I care about this match?
I don't. I mean, no, I won't ask you because I know the answer. The only observation I wanted to bring up on this one is,
Yeah.
I gotta believe that Belair and Cargill is a WrestleMania match,
Right.
and so I don't know if one of them's gonna turn on the other one. I don't know if it's gonna be here or maybe they lose the championship and one blames the other. But yeah,
Well, this is like when they lost it the other time. It was a multiple tag team situation, so they didn't lose it. Well, you know what I'm getting at. Someone else could get the belts during this match, and neither one of them had to get beaten.
like, they don't have to take a pin.
Right.
But I gotta ask you, Jimmy. Like,
Yeah.
I am not. I mean, from a physical standpoint, I'm very impressed by Jade Cargill.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
from a wrestling standpoint, I'm not at all.
I think they just got to sharpen up her basics. I would say be patient.
Well, I think that's why she's been paired with Belair as a tag team.
Yeah, yeah, but they're supposed to complement each other, and obviously Jade is still working on that. I think if I was a trainer, I would probably take the Triple H approach with her because she's powerful. Look, Triple H never overdid in the ring what he was physically capable of, and he was built like a brick shithouse, and he wrestled efficiently in that role.
Yeah,
I think Jade, being that powerful, I would take a Triple H approach with her. Let her be brutal, but let her be safe with the way she works. She doesn't have to do fancy shit.
no high spots, right?
Yeah, when she's in the ring, let her be a powerhouse. She's really, really powerful. Silent but deadly.
Yeah, I mean,
this is how I would train her or want her to be presented as, because that's what she is. She's powerful. She's not a Bret Hart. I don't need her trying to do Sasha Banks high spots. I don't need any of that from her.
Billy Graham was not Billy Robinson. Billy Graham really couldn't wrestle, but I mean,
right.
He had that aura.
Understood.
And he had that physique,
and he could tell a story.
Right, and he's so well.
He was probably the greatest seller in the history of the business, or one of
Right.
them. Mike and I talk about him all the time, the way Superstar Graham sold. No one sold like Superstar Graham. He was fantastic. Real fast, read me the other three teams they're facing.
You got Damage Control. You got Io Sky and Kairi Sane.
Gotcha.
And then you've got Chelsea Green, Piper Niven.
Okay.
And you got Metaphor. And don't ask me who's in Metaphor. I couldn't even tell you.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, the one at the bottom, I think her name is Lush. She's new, so forgive me, folks. I should know more about it.
Yes.
I think she's fantastic, bro. I don't think she's good. I think she's very good in the ring.
They're in NXT, right? I think.
Yes,
right
yes. And her partner is an arrogant little bitch as far as what her role is. She's good at it. Now, if anyone's going to walk out of there, if there's going to be a title change, I would pick them. Do I think there's going to be one? I don't know. Or WrestleMania is still months away. This is something we want to say for WrestleMania, so I don't know. I would tend to think that they'll walk out of there with the belts, but if they don't, I would be putting it on that team.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily. I'm not going to go on a limb and predict winner. I do predict that the ladies' title will change hands. I think WWE has to throw Saudi Arabia a bone and do at least one title change.
Yeah,
and maybe one swerve. Maybe one turn.
Right. I could see a title change happening here.
Yeah, I would think it's going to be in this match. Let me see who we got next here.
Well, who do you have winning that match then? I mean, I'm going
to predict the NXT ladies.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I love this matchup, by the way. This has done some instant things. Instantly, Bronson Reed is now taken seriously.
Right.
It started when he was splashing everybody in sight. And just typhooning everybody in sight, basically, just destroying everybody. Didn't matter who you were. He was just landing him. He's massive, and he's mean, and he's nasty. And Rollins the moment you see him and Rollins in the brawls that have occurred already between the two, shows the greatness of Rollins. Rollins could put anybody over, and Bronson needed help being put over. He did. Let's face it. His early time in WWE has not been smooth, right, Benny?
Oh no.
It hasn't been. His size suggests that this Bronson Reed that we're seeing against this level of an opponent in Seth Rollins, it suggests this is the Bronson Reed that if he's ever going to be successful, this is the one. So this is an interesting match to me. Does Seth put him over? What do you think?
That's a tough one because I'm
I
thinking
wouldn't. I wouldn't personally. I mean, if I'm booking it, I still have Seth winning.
well, I mean, I think Seth is moving on to CM Punk. That's where I see Seth going next.
Right, right. And what good would a loss to Bronson Reed do him?
Right. Yeah.
What happens?
If I had to pick a winner, I'm picking Seth.
What happens to Bronson Reed? Does someone interfere to start something else on a high level for Bronson? You know what I mean? There's that question. Or does this match not have a finish at all? That it's a double DQ of some kind because of the hatred level is building and they're looking towards a longer program. That could very well be the answer.
Well, I'm thinking, I mean, what do you do with Bronson Reed? You pair him up with somebody in a tag team, or you have him chase Braun Breaker, or
that would be good. That would be good.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I mean, look, if you're going to have a guy like Bronson Reed on your roster and you're going to feature him, you do not scrub him. Either you use him,
you don't.
Either you use him right or you let him go. You know, this guy is Samoa Joe bigger. He's probably bigger, but it makes me feel like I'm watching a Samoa Joe. Do you understand what I'm saying? He's that big.
Right.
He's that natural. He's that tough. You know, he does a few things even Joe can't do. You know, when he starts flipping around like that, a guy his size, I'm like, what the hell?
Well, I mean, the Death Belly driver out of that truck that was awesome.
It was awesome. No, he's excellent. He's excellent, and I love the tone of his voice. I like his speaking voice. You know, so we'll see where he goes with his promos.
He would be a guy back in the day that would. I'm wondering, would he have Albano, Blassie, or Grand Wizard as his manager?
Bronson Reed would probably be paired up with Albano.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm thinking. You know, he'd probably grunt a lot. He'd grunt a lot, and Albano would rant and rave about how he's going to destroy his opponent. He's just going to rip him from limb to limb. You know? I could see that. Bronson Reed is an old school, type wrestler. Definitely rock. He's a rock'em sock'em for sure. This is going to be a good match.
It'll be a really good match. Yeah.
It is going to be a good match.
I mean, the build up to the match, I think, has been very good.
Yep. Absolutely agree. Excellent.
All right.
Okay.
That Nia versus Liv to the champions.
Well, logically, Nia should win.
Right, which means I think Liv's going to win. I think she will. But it's that there's going to be major shenanigans here because you're going to have Dominic. You're going to probably have who else? You might have what's her name? Raquel Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
And and then with Nia, you might have maybe Bailey trying to screw her over. And then you got Tiffany. What's Tiffany going to do?
Well, right there, I was waiting for you to name her because right there is where I'm not sure where they're at with the way the seeds are being sown. I think that eventually they want Tiffany to turn face,
right,
when she cashes in. So is this the match that Liv wears Nia down? And Nia somehow falls on top of her and she's still in a half coma, but Liv can't kick out, and here comes Tiffany to that doesn't seem heroic enough to me, So
yeah.
I'm really feeling logically Nia should win the match. I feel she should, but
well, I mean, what is
who's the bigger draw? Would you say? on a business level? Who's the bigger draw?
I think
Nia
Liv is
Jax or Liv Morgan? I say Liv.
Yeah, Liv is, especially with everything she's got going on with Dominic and all that.
Right, right. Can she afford to take the loss? Because that's the only thing that's on the line here, folks. It's not like the title's on the line. The only thing that's on the line is the Crown Jewel Championship. A beautiful looking belt, right, Benny?
Oh, very, very impressive. I guess the question is, what happens with that? So, like, say Liv wins, what does she do with that belt? I mean, what do they have 2 PLEs in Saudi Arabia per year, right?
Yeah, and they have a long-term contract too. I think till 2030. Go on.
I mean, does she keep it and then she brings it to the next PLE and
Yeah, well, obviously, I would think so. I would think that that's exactly what that's for.
Well, because Nia has the Queen of the Ring,
right,
and the World Championship, I would say that's.
Let's go with Liv. Why not?
Yeah, I would say so. And it's not going to be a clean. I mean, there's going to be plenty of shenanigans.
Right. Absolutely.
Let's see. I love this. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, what did he say when he was special refereeing their 7th match? By the way, those two guys together, Andrade and Melo, in the ring. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everything that the AEW fans crave. I mean, as far as in-ring wrestling, it's a 10. It's a 10 level between Andrade and Carmelo. It's a 10 level, and they've already had 6 classics in there. Here they are having a 7th classic, and LA Knight decides, screw you both. I win game 7.
Right.
What the? Yeah. Oh God, why do I love LA Knight so much? That was such a dick. That was such a dick move, Benny.
Right. I was going to ask you that. Do you see him turning heel in this match?
I don't know. I don't know, because this is consistent with LA Knight has never changed. You haven't noticed?
Yeah, that's kind of true. I mean, he's always
he's never changed. Dude, he's never changed. By the way, this is just a little bit more tuned up, a little bit more, because it's the WWE of Eli Drake. Yeah.
I love Eli Drake.
Okay. This guy's great. He's great. LA Knight is a great performer, is what I'm saying. He's not the greatest in-ring wrestler, but he's certainly.
But he's not bad by any means.
Here comes the word. He's serviceable. Okay.
Right.
And there ain't nothing wrong with being serviceable. I've seen people go to higher heights than him and be serviceable.
And he's not a kid. I think he's in his early 40s.
Right. He still plays young. He still plays young enough for me. I don't look at him and go, "Oh, I can't take this seriously." Of course I can. He's built like a brick shit house.
He is, and he can work, and he's definitely great on the mic.
He's got the crowd by the palm of his hands. He's got the crowd exactly where he wants them. He's a master at that, and you could see it in TNA. I used to talk to Mike about that. I was like, "There's this guy Eli Drake." You could see it. You could see that he had that aura. He was able to just take over whatever room you put him in. He's a great talker, and he does deliver in the ring. It's not, again, he's not Bret Hart, but he's going to walk out champion. I
was going to say, I do believe this is his niche as a mid-card champion, but he's solid. I can't imagine him losing to either of these two guys.
I'll tell you what, I agree with you, but I will defend those two guys, because they're both two of the best.
As far as the phenomenal workers.
They are. I have tons of respect for both of them. Andrade was great back in the day. I loved Andrade and his.
I like when he was Cien, right?
Dude, I absolutely loved him, and I'm telling you, when Trick Williams gets here with Melo, forget it.
Yeah.
Just forget it. Melo is destined for other things. I'm pretty sure still that Melo is destined for some pretty good things.
One thing I know for sure, it's going to be a great match.
Oh, it's going to be outstanding. But it's going to be interesting though, because Knight is nothing like those two. Okay, as far as style in the ring.
Right.
So it's really going to depend on how they all work with how he works with their style, and how they're going to mix and match that. That's going to be it's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
you got two similar styles and one completely different. Could be very interesting.
So you don't think a heel turn? I guess. I mean, I just thought, man, that was a dick move. But you're right, though. He's kind of a dick. So
Yeah, he's been cocky and arrogant the whole way through. I see him as an anti-hero. That's where that, and it's been said before, and it's true. That's where that Stone Cold
right.
comparison comes from. And the way he talks sounds like The Rock. Listen, you're allowed to have influences. It bothers me when people call him a Rock ripoff or he's just a poor man Stone Cold. What he did is he took what impressed him from the people that impressed him. And this is LA Knight. He's fine. Eli
Yeah.
Drake. He's fine. You know, he's still himself. He just happens to have the mannerisms of two of the greatest wrestlers of all time. That can't be that bad. You know,
Right.
really can't. It really can't.
I'm on a personal level. I'm really happy for the guy that he made it to the big time.
I completely agree. I mean, especially after watching him in TNA.
Right.
I loved him. I loved him. I thought he was the shit. I was like, oh my God. And that's years ago, man.
Right.
You know, I mean, he should have been in the WWE a long time before he got here.
I agree. What do we got next here?
Oh,
good match.
Wow. Now this one confuses me a bit. You can't always. I don't feel that you can always have somebody lose. And I feel like Owens has lost too much lately. Yet Randy picks up the belt and stares at it before he gives it back to Cody.
Yeah, I caught that.
See, like what does that? You know, the seeds of doubt that this match, by the way, is going to be unbelievable. This is going to be every reason why I love watching two big guys go at it. Everything about this match is going to be why I love wrestling, or the things that I love the most about wrestling are going to be two veterans that are just big dudes that are going to beat the living crap out of each other. You know, it's hard to pick a winner because Kevin is due. He's so damn due at this point for a victory. He needs this victory. I would say it's his character, the way it's been written. He needs this victory. I would think, but there's Randy picking up the belt, saving Cody's ass and staring at it. Now we know Randy is only 2 away from 16, that magic number that
Right.
Flair and Cena hold together, So there's that. So this match to me is impossible to pick. I mean, logically, it should be Randy, at the end of the day. But again, we're doing this to Kevin. What the fuck are we doing with Kevin? Part of my friends, but what are we doing with Kevin? I love Kevin Owens. He's great.
Yeah,
Kevin Owens is still great. He could hold the Intercontinental title, U.S. title tomorrow, and I wouldn't blink twice about it.
No, of course not.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a great matchup. Who do you think? I mean, logically, Randy.
Logically Randy, but I'm thinking Owens, and only because of the Triple H rhetoric to Randy on Friday night when he said,
"Right,
I'm trying to protect you against Kevin." So,
right.
I took that to heart.
So are you suggesting that Triple H himself, who's probably obviously going to make the trip to Saudi Arabia himself, may intervene in the match?
Oh, no, I don't see that at this point. Do you?
Well, how does Owens beat him cleanly? There's that too. Or does somebody help Owens? Somebody else got a beef with Randy that decides to help Owens that we've forgotten about.
Right.
There's always that. I don't see how Kevin Owens cleanly beats Randy Orton. I do see how Randy Orton cleanly beats Kevin Owens. The RKO could beat anybody. The RKO would have beaten Andre the Giant. You know what I mean? Back in the day.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine a clean pin like of Owens to Orton. Like you said though, I can imagine it the other way around.
Right.
But yeah, I would say Owens somehow. I just don't know how.
Right. Yeah, there's got to be a shock in there somewhere on this card, right?
But I think this match.
Do you think that maybe, because Mike has been talking about Cody turning heel, do you think that maybe Cody costs for some reason this match? I don't see it.
It would be a shocker, but
that would be a shocker if Cody all of a sudden interferes on someone's behalf to help them win the match. I mean, who's the bad guy here? I guess Kevin is clearly the bad guy, right?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
What if he turns and helps Kevin beat Randy? Then where is Cody Rhodes? I don't even know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. He's somewhere in the middle. I'm confused.
Right.
So no. I mean, logically, Randy should win this. Logically, because if he's Randy Orton. What's he doing holding Cody's belt? Staring at it.
And I mean, and he hasn't had
Randy's
a
got to
belt.
win this match, dude. I would tend to think that just the moment that he stopped and he held that belt, and there's a reason why he held it. There is.
Well, you think they give him another title reign?
Yeah, I do. I can see it. Look, the fans still love Randy Orton. Now, some people may not want that, but I think the fans love Randy. Randy is finally over. It happened in the last 3 or 4 years. There was a long time where Randy did not have the respect of the internet community. I've noticed a lot less hate said about Randy as he's become a veteran. It more and more so a veteran. It happened really when Riddle was around with him, believe it or not. People started to figure out, something, Randy's been here a long, long time. He's been here a long, long time. And Randy, grew physically into the perfection that he is today.
Right.
He didn't always look like this. He always looked great, don't get me wrong. But some people actually age magnificently. And at this point in his life, Randy Orton really is a huge, huge man.
And he's what? I think he's 44.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks fantastic. It's just his whole presentation.
Looks better than he ever has.
Yeah, the fans
and he hasn't really slowed down one iota.
Yeah, the fans get it. The fans treat him like a legend now. I couldn't be happier because I remember days where I argued on his behalf. I've always liked Randy Orton, but I always liked Roman Reigns. Maybe that's why I've always liked Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon saw certain things in certain people and promoted them as such. And I felt it was important during the days that people were hating on Roman or during the days that people were hating on Orton. Vince wasn't hating on them. Vince was building their resume so that you can look at them now, like fans look at Randy Orton now and go, you know what? It's been 20 years that this guy's been great. It's no longer that years 1 through 13 we complained about it. You understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I do.
It's very interesting how that worked out for Randy.
The only thing I worry about is if Randy loses a match, absolutely no damage to Randy. If Owens loses, what do you do with Owens?
You're right. I mean, Owens needs the match more.
He really needs the win.
I guess Randy's just cool with it. If Randy does put him over, I'll be surprised, but I won't be like, oh my God, that shouldn't have happened. I'd probably be relieved for Kevin because pressed against the wall, I'm a bigger fan of Kevin Owens than I am Randy Orton. Obviously, I like Randy Orton. I don't even know if he's in my top 10, but I have tons of respect and have always liked him. Kevin Owens, I've been a fan of since Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
I love Kevin Owens. Everything about Kevin Owens is, and I remember at first, too, when I showed Mike, Kevin Steen, as he was known, Mr. Wrestling in Ring of Honor, and Mike was right. He looked at me, he was like, so what's his image? He looks like my mailman. And I was like, holy fucking shit. He's so right. You know what I mean?
Right.
But what he didn't know, and everybody got to know as Kevin, grew bigger and honed his craft into complete perfection, gets into the WWE. What he didn't know, Kevin was always great on the mic and just a great personality. Kevin has a great personality. You can look like the everyday guy next door, but if you have a great personality, you leave a higher impression.
You can connect.
Yeah, you can connect. And that's the key word, Benny. You nailed it, connect. Because Kevin, when he was Kevin Steen, he connected to me.
Yeah.
So as Kevin Owens, and I'll never forget how he first came out. Didn't he come out on his debut as the NXT champion? He debuted on WWE with Cena because it's like, my name is, Kevin Owens, and I'm here to, challenge you. And Kevin Owens is great, man. He's great. I mean, you just made the list. You just made the list. Wait, why is my name on this list?
Yep.
Bam. I mean, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, that Kevin Owens. Jesus, what a career!
Everything he does like phenomenally well.
What a career! And he's been world champion too. So he's got that going for him too.
I think he needs this win.
Yeah, let's give it. Come on, give it to Kevin. But Randy, don't lose any face. Don't lose any face. That was weird though. He held on to the belt. That was very weird.
Right.
Go on.
All right.
What do we got here?
Got the old bloodline against the new bloodline.
God, I can't stand the new bloodline. How do you feel about the new bloodline? Boo. I mean, I think they're doing a great job. I ain't saying that, but just boo.
is Jacob Fatu more over than Solo Sikoa though?
You know what? I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. How far ahead Fatu's quick impact had already diminished Sikoa's aura as the tribal chief, but I think that he's made up for it in the last few weeks. Solo Sikoa has had a couple of great weeks of mic work. You know, he really has. He's done a great job. He's selling this, and he's doing a really good job of doing it. I can't stand this bloodline. I hate their guts. However, what do you see that's wrong numerically about this matchup? I see 4 people.
I see 4 versus 3.
Right.
Something's missing.
Now, let me ask you a question. Who's a hero to the Saudi Arabians that's on the WWE roster? And it may be a little tricky. It may not. Who's a hero?
You mean Sami Zayn?
Oh, look at you. Very logical there, Batman. Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. So do you think this is where we all get Uzi once again?
I would, yes. I mean, I think
are you going to deny Saudi Arabia their hero? I mean,
the little the tryst with Solo was a swerve. So yeah, I see that happening.
The place will explode. You realize that?
But I'm kind of thinking that the new bloodline wins.
Well, how are you going to have Sammy? Oh, you're going to have them somehow win and start doing a beatdown, and here comes Sammy to save the day?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That feels a little Hulk Hogan-like. I was thinking that one of the 4 who's not in the match. Isn't it supposed to be 3-on-3?
It's 3-on-3, yeah.
Right. One of the 4 that isn't in the match is going to constantly be interfering.
Well, yeah,
right?
That's Fatu. Fatu's
so I would tend to think that Sammy would come out and nullify that situation so Roman can hit a spear and everybody is happy. That's what I think, because I think the Usos have been pinned enough lately. All right, I don't want Jimmy getting pinned. Jimmy just got back, I mean, everybody just got back. I don't want anybody getting pinned here. No one is to be pinned on the fucking bloodline. You understand what I'm saying? The original.
Right. Well, Roman certainly won't get pinned.
Yeah. No. The original bloodline, no one is to be pinned. Absolutely fucking not. They're beating these guys. And Sammy's got to come out and help them beat these guys. The end. All right? Sometimes you got to give the people what they want. That's what they're going to want. And you know what? That's what I want. Because I want the greatest version of the bloodline ever. And I want them back right now. I don't want to wait.
Any chance of the return of the wise man?
Oh, absolutely. I would hope so. But they might be saving that for last. Because Roman has to ascend. Roman needs him to fully ascend. That's all part of the deal. Heyman was to him what bacon was to eggs. You understand?
They have to leave enough in doubt, because I would almost be willing to bet money that this is also going to be happening at Survivor Series.
Right. And then there's the unknown, though. The big, big, big unknown. If Paul Heyman returns with Brock Lesnar, there is no negotiating with the tribal chief. You are not my wise. You cannot be my wise man and have Brock Lesnar as your client. So you got that problem, too.
Right.
So who knows, man?
Yeah.
I would tend to think Sami Zayn's going to come out there and nullify this situation.
Sami Zayn will definitely be there, yes.
I would think so. And then I think Roman's hitting somebody with the spear, So I don't think the Usos should be getting pinned.
No, like you said, Jimmy just came back. You can't have him taking a pin. Jay just lost the IC title.
He ain't taking no pin.
That's enough for him. And Roman's not getting pinned for sure.
Roman ain't getting pinned.
No.
Nope. I think Sammy's going to come out there and nullify shit.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. That would be a great feel-good moment. I'm ready for it. I don't know if you are, but I am. I mean, I know it's moving.
I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah.
PLE.
Yeah. Yeah. No matter what they do, we're going to like it, because it's going to, and the questions continue.
It's not. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be resolved. It's to be continued no matter what.
Absolutely. Great storyline.
All right, here we go. Last but not least.
Oh boy. Well, I know who I want to win for the great sport, this beautiful sport we call professional wrestling. So, Cody, what do you want to talk about?
You're right.
You know, I want Gunther.
I, with all
But I
my
don't.
heart,
But I don't see it.
you don't really?
Oh man,
I
really? Are they gonna? They're gonna do that? They're gonna. Cody Rhodes is gonna be pinned by Gunther.
I mean, who can afford the loss more, I guess, is my question. I would say Cody can afford it.
To Gunther.
To Gunther, I mean,
Does Randy cost him the match?
again, you know there's going to be some outside interference.
He's got to deal with Kaiser too, right?
Right.
Kaiser's obviously going to interfere. Someone's going to have to balance that. Does Randy come on after Kevin? You know what I'm saying with all of this?
But now Gunther won the King of the Ring, though, right? He won that.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Again,
you know, he's the world champion.
Against King of the Ring. Against
Who I forgot.
I believe it was Randy.
Right. So, I mean, you guys got the King of the Ring. He's got the world title. Does he get this too? Or maybe, kind of balances out if Cody has it.
I want Gunther to have it. Let's go with Gunther.
Yeah.
Does he really pin him, though? I mean, I don't know. I feel like the only person who should be pinning Cody Rhodes to the mat is Roman.
Well, remember the good old days when, you could lose by a count out.
Right.
Or you could lose by, I mean, how many times did Bruno lose because the referee came in?
Are they going to, have they definitively said that they're not going to have countouts or DQs?
No, I haven't heard anything like that.
So there could be a countout.
Right. Well, I mean,
okay.
Bruno lost.
That changes a lot. That changes a lot. I could see Gunther easily winning by countout.
Well, how about the old, the old blood stoppage? I mean, how many matches,
God.
how many main events at the Garden, got stopped, and
right.
Bruno lost.
Benny, refresh me. You're the historian. What was the Dusty finish? Wasn't that the blood stoppage? What was the Dusty finish?
I mean, I'm thinking back to Luger Flair when Luger had Flair in the torture rack.
Right.
And that's when the referee decided that Luger was bleeding too badly, and
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No thanks. So are we giving this to Gunther? What are we doing here?
Yeah. I'm going. Wow.
Wow, we're nuts.
I think it's Ludwig Kaiser interference.
I don't know if that's big enough. We got to have more than that. I still feel like Randy should.
Do you think somebody's going to interfere on Cody's side to cost him?
Well, I can't get Randy out of my mind right now for some reason. Randy has done some strange things recently, and Randy has history with Gunther, so I don't know.
Maybe does Randy lose the match to Owens and get pissed off and then screw Cody over? I mean, who knows?
It's possible. That's what I'm thinking.
And then you got Randy Cody,
right?
And that would fit into your whole thing about him looking at the belt,
right? It's just strange that Randy stopped and held that belt for a moment.
They don't do anything for nothing.
No, not normally. That's something down the road. Like for example, I felt this way for a long time, but down the road, Sheamus is finally going to win that Intercontinental title. It's probably minor to a lot of people, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean they've been booking him a lot better lately. He beat Ludwig, and he looked very good doing it.
Right, Sheamus is great. I like Sheamus.
Love Sheamus.
I've always liked him.
Yeah,
he's fine with me.
He is the epitome to me of a professional wrestler.
Dude, I know I'm in the minority, but I'm sorry. When he beat Daniel Bryan in 18 seconds, I laughed my ass off.
Right.
I really did. I was like, that's believable. Because it was. I mean, in real life it is. Walk into a bar, there's Daniel Bryan. Hey, I'm sure we all know Daniel Bryan's a tough guy. You know what I
Right.
mean? But you walk into a bar, there's Daniel Bryan, there's Sheamus. What do you think's gonna happen? You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like, come on. It was pretty funny.
It,
Oh well.
it's a pretty decent card, though.
No, it is. It's good. I hate that it's not for the titles, though, bro. It's
Right.
for this Crown Jewel Championship. Why don't we get to the core of that real quick, Benny? Like, do you give a shit about that championship?
Well, what happens with it? I mean,
what is it?
I think whoever wins it, like say Gunther wins it, he totes it out for a couple of weeks, and then you don't see it again until the next time they wrestle in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. It's like, who cares?
He's not going to bring it out every week. I mean, I don't think we're beholden to the Saudis that much that,
No.
we got that Gunther's got to tote it out for the next 6 months.
No. Great matchups, but I wish they would for the titles themselves.
Yeah. I really like what you said about Randy, though. I really think, him looking at that belt means, he thinks he's got at least one more left in him, and
Right.
which I would love to see. And yeah, maybe he gets pissed off with the only thing I wonder about though is what would make him mad enough at Cody to interfere in the match.
Yeah, it's unknown, Plus, by the way, him and Triple H, their exchange, was really awesome.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, Randy Orton's in a class by himself. I mean, he's like one of the greatest ever.
Does Triple H get involved physically?
That might be like maybe, yeah. That's a good point.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to think about Triple H on screen right now. It's weird in the media. He's under heavy scrutiny lately. Paul Levesque.
Right.
But there he is on camera more than he's back. It's just like,
he's interjecting himself in these storylines. So maybe you got a point there. Maybe he would. At first I thought, no way. But maybe, this guy's still in really good shape. I mean, he can't do too much because he had that heart thing, but he's not. I think he's 55.
Right.
But the guy is still, he's great shape.
There can never be another Mr. McMahon, but sometimes I wish that Paul would think about that and get involved from time to time physically, whatever he can handle, but like be a heel, be that prick in the front office that runs everything, be that asshole. Because Triple H is the definition of being an asshole, and I say that lovingly because I love Triple H. I think he's great.
Oh yeah.
So
if anybody could do that, it would absolutely be him.
Yeah, I would love to see that. So many questions, Benny. So many questions.
Yeah, that's why we love it, right?
Well, what time do I have to get up to see this? Which I'm sure I won't. What time does this thing start?
I think 2:30 in the morning. It's like back in the day on ESPN in 1981. You got up at 2:30 in the morning because you couldn't sleep. And what did you see? Australian rules football.
Is that what I used to see?
Yeah, I think that and underwater farting. I mean, yeah.
On a Halloween topic there. What I did used to see at 2:30 in the morning were all the horror movies. Did you ever see the movie from the 70s, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things?
No, I did not.
Dude, that's the weirdest movie because it seems like it's dark comedy almost, and then the end is really scary.
Now, one movie I did see in the movie theater that I forgot about was Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, you saw that in the theater?
Oh, yeah.
What a classic that is. I love that movie.
Chili Billy Cardell, from the wrestling announcer.
Right. What a bummer of an ending, by the way. When they shoot the poor black fella in the head, you assholes.
Yeah.
That guy went through everything. He was a good guy, too. It was like, in a way that foreshadowed the Halloween thing where, it doesn't end happy. It's like, what the hell? That horror movie was way ahead of its time, Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, I agree.
And we wouldn't have Walking Dead. I was a fan of that show for a while. I jumped off eventually, but I watched for many seasons The Walking Dead. The zombie movies were fantastic. You could thank Romero. Thank Romero for that.
Now you got me curious enough. Maybe this week I might watch one or two.
Yeah, I was really surprised that you didn't know too many.
No.
I was like, wow, Benny's not a horror aficionado. Why did I take you for one?
No, I'm believe it or not, I am a chick flick guy.
A chick flick
I,
guy?
I have three sons, each of whom torture me endlessly because
What
I've
is it?
watched I've watched 13 going on 30, probably 15 times. So
That's a chick flick. Could you name me the greatest chick flick of all time? I need to understand chick flick.
yeah, I mean, chick flicks would be like 51st Dates with Adam Sandler.
Okay, I never saw it.
You got Pretty Woman, the ultimate chick flick with
Oh God, I think I tried to see it, but I
Julia
couldn't bear it.
Roberts. You got Sweet Home Alabama.
No, I never saw it.
You got It Could Happen to You with Nicolas Cage. That's a great movie. I love that movie.
I never saw that.
Nicolas Cage and, and
Nicholas
Bridget
Cage
Fonda.
is Nicholas Cage is an interesting dude. He sat 2 rows behind me at a Yankee game years ago, and people were bothering him. And I remember turning around and looking at him like he gave me the look like, oh my God, I wish these people would leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, right.
Like I felt sorry for him. I looked at him like, don't worry, bro, I'm not gonna bother you.
Yeah.
Everybody's bothering him.
No, that's a great movie. That's probably my favorite movie. It could happen, and I don't know if that's even a chick flick. I mean, it kind of is, but you know, he's a cop, and he goes to a diner, doesn't have a tip, says to the waitress, "You can have half of my lottery ticket," which wins $6 million. But he's married to Rosie Perez, who is, I would never say the C word on the air, but she was the, in the Webster's picture dictionary, under that word would be a picture of Rosie Perez.
All right, very good, very good.
And they wound up falling in love and living. I mean, what a great movie.
Huh?
But yeah,
chick flicks. So you're a sap. I mean, like Love Story with Ali McGraw. I mean, what are we talking?
Yep, seen that. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
The Way We Were. Does that make you cry?
No, that one I haven't seen.
You've never seen The Way We Were, From Here to Eternity? You're talking about chick flicks.
I do not like Barbara Streisand.
What's wrong with you? Those are chick flicks. At least I think they are.
Right.
Wow. I don't know. Frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn.
The one with Jimmy Fallon, I think it's called Fever Pitch, him and Drew Barrymore.
Okay,
chick flick.
Never saw it.
Yep.
Wow. They've all eluded me somehow, Benny.
Somehow, I imagine they still will.
Yeah. I like Animal House. You like Animal House?
My ex-wife, Judy, that was our first date. We went to go see Animal House at the Farmingdale movie theater.
What a great movie, Animal House.
Oh, God. Belushi is so brilliant.
Facially. It's not what he says. I mean, what he says is funny.
He doesn't have to say anything, just like that scene in the cafeteria.
Oh, my God. When they're playing Don't Know Much About History.
Yes.
Oh, my God. That's hilarious.
And he's walking through the food line, puts a sandwich in his pocket, sucks the Jell-O.
It's when he looks around and raises the eyebrow.
Yes.
Way before The Rock, by the way. Looks around, raises the eyebrow, and devours the bowl of Jell-O. You remember that?
Yes.
He's like, he was unbelievable. Try to see if you can guess what I am now.
Right.
I'm a Zed. Get it? Oh, he was great. Belushi was great. The whole film was great.
A very young Kevin Bacon in that movie.
That was a great cast. They were perfect. They really were.
God. Again, there's a movie that came out, in the 78, maybe 46 years ago.
78, yep, 78.
Still makes me crack up.
Yeah, it's forever classic, like Spaceballs. Yeah. Why didn't anybody ever tell me my ass was this big? When he goes through the transporter and he's backwards, like his you can see his face, but his ass is in front. So he's got a view of his front. His back and his front. If you
I'm trying to think of it. What was the guy? Was his name Stork? The guy in
Stork, I think, wrote the whole damn thing.
Stork actually wrote
Animal House. Yeah, Stork was a genius.
His last name is Kinney. I can't think of his first name.
Bro, he died young, I think.
He died. He died during the filming at Caddyshack. Not on site. He was remote somewhere, but yeah. Guy was a comedic genius.
Well, he's the one who delivers the classic line in Animal House. Well, what the hell are we supposed to do, you morons?
You morons, yeah.
It was just freaking great. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Germans? Leave him alone.
No, I love when Stork's marching and they're marching and then all of a sudden he pushes the guy out of the way and he takes the baton and he starts leading him down the alley.
Right down the alley, straight into the and they all walk right into the level of stupidity is great.
Right.
Is great in that movie.
Oh,
you know,
epic. They don't make them like that anymore.
No,
well,
they don't.
We're right at an hour and a half. I guess we better close up shop here.
Yes, sir.
Unless we're gonna bill Mike
it's
for
been
overtime.
fun.
Oh, absolutely. Let me, before we go, I got to know here.
I've got to know.
That's the follow-up line to when Clint Eastwood says, I don't know if I fired 6. The question is, do you feel lucky? And the guy on the guy goes, I got to know.
I got to know.
All right.
Oops.
I can't. Where's the score here?
Are you looking for the Jets?
Yes, sir.
Oh God, why?
Yeah, well, it was 7-0 at halftime. We'll see. I guess Michael let us know. But well, Jimmy, why don't you take us home one more time?
You've been watching once again the Playa and the Pharaoh. And until next week when I go to New York. We haven't talked about that, Benny, but I'm going to New York. Let me get that in fast.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Do that.
Yeah, well, I'll be there next week, and we got one guest after another. God, Mike, help me out. Who's who for what's... See, this is where I need Mike, because there's all sorts of stuff going on. There is. I mean, I know Friday we're doing a drinking game with the Sandman and Todd Gordon and Francine, but and Saturday's the big event, but it's going to be a blur, and I'm going to Iron Maiden, too. So I'll see you next week in the studio.
A drinking game.
Yeah, we're gonna. Dude, I'm actually very worried about that.
Oh boy,
I gotta tell. Well, first of all, Sandman is legendary, right? I mean, and he's a cool guy too. So, but he can drink. I know he can handle his shit. Francine, I would assume, she's hung with the boys enough that I probably wouldn't want to have a drinking contest with Francine. She's a pretty tough lady. And Todd, well, if Todd is God, that means he can consume whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get too smashed because the next day I got the big event with Mike, and then I got Maiden with Bart out in Jersey, Iron Maiden. So,
all right, you got a full weekend.
Yeah, I really do. I hate flying, by the way, but
you and me both. You're preaching to the choir.
These are things you got to do.
Yep.
So anyway, you've been watching Playa and the Pharaoh, and until next week when I return to the Empire State with Monty and the Pharaoh, later.
Later.